You're doing it, man.
I'm not. I just want to say, welcome back, everybody.
Start out with the old little cash. I mean, your fans will be familiar with it. Hopefully,
My 100 subscribers.
Hopefully, if we could get like 5 of them, pulled out of all of your subscribers,
get us up and running.
To like this, that would be fantastic.
That would be amazing.
Do you want me to do it?
No, I can do it. I'm just getting my head. I'm building up.
We're gonna leave all this in, okay? This is Mag Reviews.
Okay. All right. On that note, welcome to Mag Reviews, where we do movies, anime, and gaming reviews. Today, we got back from Endgame, Avengers Endgame, and we're going to be doing a review, not a podcast. It's a review today.
Yes.
Of our thoughts and opinions on the movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, my name is Jordan, and then we have Nick here.
Yes, I'm beautiful.
It's just us two for now. We will hopefully be having other people on the show later on. But now, Avengers Endgame. Probably the most hyped movie of this year.
Yeah.
Probably of the last 3 years, if we're honest.
Yes.
Ever since Infinity War came out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just going from the movie, as soon as we stepped out of Infinity War, as soon as we were out of that theater, it was hyped for Endgame.
Yep.
Yep.
It was. I couldn't wait for Endgame.
And has it been 2 years now?
No, it was that was last year.
Has it only been a year? I don't know.
It's only been a year.
It's taking forever is the problem. We're eating bagel bites fresh out of the oven because that's what gamers do.
I'm not.
Do it. This is Gam.
Gam. It's Mag. Where were we?
Most hyped movie.
That's right, yeah.
Most hyped movie, all the build up. We were all excited for Avengers Endgame.
Mm-hmm. After Infinity War, which was last year, it's only been a year.
Yep. It's only been 1 year since Infinity War came out. Now we have Endgame. It was a long year. It was a difficult year. But we're finally here.
I know I suffered. A lot.
You suffered and toiled.
Mm-hmm.
We all did.
My millennial problems.
It was a problem we all shared. But our spoiler-free part of this review.
Yeah, spoiler. This part of first part.
Mm-hmm. What did we think about it without giving any spoilers? You go first.
Me? Oh, I get the honor. Okay. I thought it was amazing. I think the beginning was slow. It started out like in the 3 parts of the movie. The first part was slow, but I felt was deserved because everything had to connect and get set up. And then the middle, more of that so much, and more action, but more kind of setting up, building up, and then the end was just
symphony of beauty.
It was like Infinity War, if not all, but like most of the action was right at the end, like the last part of the movie, which I don't mind. Like, it was amazing. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, it all goes without saying, because Infinity War was a great movie, and everybody was worried, well, can Endgame live up to it? There's been controversy with Marvel. Is it going to work out? And will it be able to hold up to Infinity War? I think it did more than hold up to Infinity War. It was fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's definitely as good, if not better. I need to see it again, for sure.
Yeah, and we will be watching it again.
Yeah.
If that's any indication of how much we liked it, we will be watching it again. In fact, we just watched it today as of recording this, and we will be watching it again tomorrow.
An undisclosed date and time from when this video goes up.
But we're already watching it again tomorrow, and we have no regrets. It was all worth it.
Mm-hmm.
IMAX was worth it. We saw it in IMAX. That was beautiful. Eyes hurt a little bit, but it was beautiful. Highly recommend it. It's
Forgot to blink.
It's worth the extras, but so the basic level is Endgame worth it? Does it live up to Infinity War? Absolutely. It's 100% worth watching.
Mm-hmm.
You'll love it. You'll think, oh, it's a 3-hour movie. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Those 3 hours go by in a flash. You're just going through all these emotions when you're watching that movie, and it's very beautiful.
Yes. And I was surprised that the emotional high points in this, for me, were higher than Infinity War. And at the same time, I think there's more humor than Infinity War. Like there was
Probably
a lot of humor in this.
A lot of humor, almost just a hint of awkward at some points. Like it just felt like there was a handful of jokes that if they just left it just like out like 2 or 3.
Yeah, there were a couple.
It would have kept the flow a little more dramatic, but you really don't notice it, and you enjoy it. I mean, everybody in the theater was laughing their heads off.
Oh, some of the jokes were some of the funniest ever written, in my opinion, in the Marvel movies.
Usually, I'm not the person to laugh out loud in the theater. Like, I'll chuckle, but I was laughing pretty hard, too. Those were hilarious.
They were pretty good. For
Yeah.
sure. I do think Infinity War was better paced. Just from beginning to end, it was just a constant. There's no points where you're bored. In this, like I said at the beginning, for me, I can see on repeat watchings where you know what's happening. Like, you know, that's I'll go get some snacks and I'll come back when it starts getting like more action packed.
Yeah.
But that doesn't ruin it at all. Just slow pacing at the beginning, I don't think deducts at all from what my score is going to be. It's good. I like it.
Yeah, Infinity War and Endgame, there's not one that's like super superior to the other. They're both really good, and they complement each other great. They flow together. Like, we went from watching Infinity War, we watched Infinity War to prep for watching Endgame.
Yeah.
And it all flows together pretty nice. And even if you don't have a super complex understanding of the Marvel Universe, you will get this movie, and it'll make sense to you. But now it's time to dig into the juicy part, the spoilers.
Spoiler alert. Wait. For the people that don't want to hear spoilers, are we going to give our score right now? Or should we do it after spoilers? Because, I mean, you know, people want a score, but they don't want the spoilers yet. Should we do the score now?
No.
No.
Here's what you should do, because the
Here's
score
what you
can
should
be
do.
the score can be a spoiler. All the folks at home that are intelligent, score will be a spoiler. If you get like a 10 out of 10, then you know you can kind of guess that certain things are going to happen, that kind of stuff. How about for the spoiler-free part of it, you should watch it. If you are a fan of Marvel, you will love this.
You're required to watch this movie.
Yes, it's a requirement. if you call yourself a fan but don't watch it, you're a traitor. You don't count.
Okay, well, since we're not doing number scores, before we go into spoiler-free, I want to give my personal recommendation that I loved it and everyone should see it score.
I'd agree with that. 100%.
There you go.
Jumping right into it. We will spoil every bit and piece of this movie, so...
Unless we forget something, because that was a long movie.
It's possible that we could forget something, because this was a 3-hour movie.
Yep.
A 3-hour roller coaster, to say the least. Your emotions are going from high to low to high to low.
Yep.
You have a joke that has you laughing, and then the next scene you're literally tearing up. To say me and Nick right here, we don't tear up. That doesn't happen.
We're the manliest men to men since Thor.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
sure, we'll go with that. Because right now we don't have the video portion, so you're not actually seeing us. So we can get away with whatever we want.
Pretty much. I'm a unicorn, by the way.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Mario.
All right.
The movie, it had you laughing out loud a lot, and then it would go to a scene, and you're just finishing laughing. You're like, that was hilarious. And then you're like, is this about to happen? Is this really about to happen? It happens. And then there's the music, and it's like, I had my eyes tear up a little bit. I was like, this is so sad.
Yeah. All right. We need to talk about some scenes, and I think we should do it in chronological order.
Absolutely.
Starting with the first, in my opinion, the biggest shocker of the movie, where they kill Thanos. Like, in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
This is something that all the people that were like making predictions about the movie and, oh, they're going to do this and that, you were proven wrong.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't have any like solid predictions that I thought were going to happen. And like some of them came true in a way. Like Captain America, everybody's saying, oh, he's going to die. Well, that isn't exactly true, but it's true in a way.
Yep.
All kinds of different stuff. But like the build up to the movie, a lot of people with their theories, all this kind of stuff, a lot of people were worried because Captain Marvel was a massive flop. Everybody hated it. There was internal controversy in Marvel about it. Everybody was worried that the main Avengers which would be Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Thor.
Yeah.
Those six, the six original Avengers. Everybody was afraid they're going to get cast to the side. They won't. It'll be Captain Marvel and the new heroes that come in to save the day and kill Thanos. I was personally very concerned that would happen because I didn't want that to happen. I wanted the movie to stay with my favorite characters, and it does.
Oh, definitely. That was a big worry of
Brie
mine.
Larson's Captain Marvel is in the movie. She does play a part, and I guess it can be considered a critical part. There is one scene, and we'll get to that later, but there is a scene where she does something that, you know,
kind of saves the day, or
kind of saves the day, but it's like super quick, and it's not like the main focus of the movie at all. It stays with the characters you love. And that was really good because everybody was worried, oh, this is going to be a flop. It was by no means a flop. So that's the buildup of the movie heading into it. Everybody was confused. Everybody had conflicting theories. And like you said, you get down, we sit down, you start watching the movie, and you hear them. They're trying to find Thanos. You're like, all right, this is going to be the majority of the movie, is finding Thanos and in some way reversing it and undoing it. Like that's it. They find Thanos. They bust into his little hut that you see at the end of Infinity War. He was out gardening, picked some weird spiky mushroom-looking things to eat.
Yeah.
And they pin him down, and Thor cuts his head off. That was awesome because for Marvel's been so PG. Not that this was like inherently gory, but they don't hold back. Like his head gets cut off, and Thor is mad.
Yeah.
Just without remorse, chops his head off, done. And you hear that the Infinity Stones were reduced to atoms. Thanos destroyed them and almost killed himself in the process of destroying them. So you're just like, huh? This caught everybody by surprise because every theory revolved around the Infinity Stones being around to save the day when they just got destroyed and Thanos is gone. That left me thinking in the theater. I was confused, and it was a good kind of confused.
Yeah.
Like, this movie's like terrible, doesn't work. It wasn't like that. I was like, now I'm really intrigued. Like, how is this supposed to work?
Definitely. Yeah. It's. I knew. I just kind of knew there was going because there were some articles saying there'd be time travel involved. So I knew there'd be time travel to do something with the stones and with Thanos, like in the past. But even knowing that, after they kill Thanos in the first like 10 minutes, I was still thinking, how are they doing this? Like, how are they going to make this movie work? Just in the first 10 minutes, there's so many questions and so many things that happened. I loved it.
On top of all the questions that Infinity War left over, like, we were carrying those questions, and they didn't answer any. They just piled on another big load of just questions. You're just like, huh?
What's going on?
Yeah, and then it makes the massive time jump.
5 years, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
5-year time jump.
After
That's
they
a
kill
big
Thanos.
jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really surprised. I was like, oh, they're going to kill Thanos, and then they're going to start. No, 5 years later. But that's enough about the first 10 minutes. What was the next big thing that was like a shock?
The next big thing was how angry Tony was with Captain America, and he was very adamant that they lost, and that he was done with it, and he wasn't going to take a second chance because Pepper survives, and they have a kid.
Oh yeah, the 5-year skip. They have a family now in a little ranch house next to a lake.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
So you had that big times jump or whatever. Tony seems to be pretty happy, and he's still carrying the fact that they lost and half of Earth got wiped out. But he got lucky and he came through with his family, so he's very attached to his family. He's not going to let anything happen to them again, so he's not willing to take a chance. Meanwhile, the rest of the Avengers are still looking for a chance to get back what they lost. And you see Black Widow and Captain America, they have a conversation, and you get reintroduced to Hawkeye, you see what Hawkeye lost, that was a big part of it. Mm-hmm. You get to see what Hawkeye was doing during the snap in Infinity War, how his entire family gets disintegrated, how he goes kind of crazy, and then just starts killing bad guys. He's done with it. He's just going to take care of the problem then and there, kill bad guys.
Kind of like Batman, at least modern Batman, how he just doesn't care.
Or Deadpool. He doesn't care. He just kills the bad guys and gets it done.
Yeah.
So there's that big time gap or whatever. You can see how different the Avengers are. They're not really the Avengers anymore. they're basically just a group of friends just trying to deal with what happened. They're not like the leading force in the world. They're not the center of anything. They're just defeated. That's all that happened, is they're just defeated. And then
all sad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all sad. And then you get Hulk, which was a complete surprise, a hilarious surprise,
And I liked it, honestly. I gotta say, it's a lot like the comics. How Bruce Banner and the Hulk are just one, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really cool. And I think they did a great job with the CGI, too.
Mm-hmm.
The only CGI moment that I could really tell was, like, CG was talking about the Avengers, how they're not really Avengers. After the time skip Thor, he's got that gut because he's just drinking.
We're not quite there yet.
That was the only scene I'm like, that looks kind of CG. Because I know he didn't put on that weight.
Yeah, there's no way.
There's no way.
Yeah. So you had the big time jump. You have the Avengers scattered. You have people going their separate ways, and then you're left with thinking, well, the movie hasn't really gotten to the point of how are they gonna win. They haven't even gotten to that point yet at all. You're still wondering. Pretty much, you're just left with, yeah, we all lost. That's it. End of story.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to some warehouse somewhere with a van, and that's where
Ant-Man pops out of
now. I know this is a failure on my part. I did not see Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, I watched it like a few weeks ago.
I didn't see it, but I had actually watched a video on it, so I was up to speed on what the movie was about.
Yeah.
And how Hank... Is it Hank?
Hank Pym.
Yeah, Hank Pym, and then the assistant girl, I can't remember their names, and then Ant-Man. They're conducting an experiment, and they go into the quantum realm. And it's supposed to be a quick in and out, just testing it out. It's a way of time travel. They don't know it's time travel. They're just experimenting. They're just conducting an experiment
and getting like some of that energy from the.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gathering materials.
Yeah, pin atoms and all that kind of stuff. So Ant-Man gets sent into this realm, and right then the snap happens. So the doctor and the assistant aren't able to pull Ant-Man back out of the quantum realm. He's stuck there. But he has no idea he's stuck there. And then you see a rat crawling around on the inside of the van. Happenstance. Clicks a button on just a little control panel. And then bright lights, and then Ant-Man's back, and he's confused.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, this is how it happens. Ant-Man survived, and he has no idea. So already you start to get the idea, all right, this is what they're going to do. And then
because he finds the Avengers, and he says how it was only like 5 hours for him, when for everyone else it was 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when they start looking for the time travel.
And it becomes a reality that this is possible.
And then that's when they consult Tony Stark to see if it's possible, and Tony's all, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, Tony makes it very clear that he's not taking a second chance, not with his family.
Yeah.
Not with any of that. He says it's not worth it at all.
I can see that.
There's a lot of time travel.
There is. And I like what they did. It all makes sense. There wasn't anything they did with time travel that had me like, that's dumb. I like how they handled it.
It wasn't stupid time travel, but you had to pay attention and keep track of it.
Yeah.
Like, if you fell asleep, if you're insane and managed to fall asleep...
You'd be like, what?
And you woke up, like, in, like, a span of, like, 10 minutes. If you missed 10 minutes of the movie, you will be so confused.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those movies that in the theater, there is no bathroom or snack breaks.
Definitely not.
You must persevere, and you must watch the whole thing, because if you miss any little bit, you're going to be confused. Then, of course, there's the whole side story with Thor, which is hilarious.
That was great when Hulk and Rocket have to go to the new Asgard.
They've got to go round up Thor, because, of course, Thor is obviously very depressed, because he didn't go for the head. He just hit Thanos in the chest, so...
He kills Thanos after he kills half the galaxy. So he's all depresso espresso in his new hometown.
He's drinking a lot, all that kind of stuff. They have their new Asgard, so the rest of the Asgardians that survived from their ship getting destroyed in Infinity War, they're basically just living on Earth in a little place called New Asgard. Kind of looks like Iceland or something.
They're a bunch of fishermen, basically.
They're just fishermen, just this tiny little podunk village, and they're just going along. They got nothing else to do. Their king is busy drinking beer and playing Fortnite. That was a part in the movie.
All right. We got to talk about, what's his name? The the little worm guy and the rock guy from Thor Ragnarok. I forget their names.
I forget their names too, but everybody knows what what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're playing Fortnite, and the whole scene back and forth was really funny, and I like it. But I have a sneaking suspicion it's really gonna age this movie, that one scene with Fortnite.
Yeah, because that's a very niche thing. That's not going to be around like 3-4 years. Nobody will even remember it. It'll be like, it's dead. Dead thing. I mean, already people don't know or forgetting about it.
But it was really funny. A lot of jokes there. And Thor's CGI gut, which
spectacular. Thor basically becomes a fat drunk. He's got a massive beer belly.
Oh yeah, sexy
shaggy.
belly.
It's hilarious because you go from Chris Hemsworth and all the other movies, just being the big jacked guy he is, and then you see him fat, drunk. It's so funny, and it was obviously fake. He didn't actually put on the weight, but it looked really good.
Yeah,
for the most part, and it was just laugh out loud, hysterical.
Seeing
a fat Thor.
I think he has his shirt off like in every Marvel movie,
except for this one.
Well, no, he had his shirt off when they first found him. Like I think it's in his contract that his shirt is off for one scene.
Probably is. It probably was. But you don't like really get to see its glory because it was CGI, so they can't show it. But that was really funny. So you have all these conflicting storylines. The first half of the movie was, I wouldn't say it's not jumbled in a bad way. They lay it out like you know what's happening. We're trying to like relay it just through our review, this podcast review. It's kind of hard to put them all together, but when you watch it, it comes together very nicely, and you're like, okay, this is where everybody's at. They're all together now, and they figured out time travel. In one part, so Captain America, Tony Stark, and Ant-Man go back to the first Avengers movie to take the Tesseract, which contains I don't remember.
And the Mind Stone from the spear.
Yeah, and the Mind Stone. So they're trying to get 2 stones, and they get to the part where after the battle, so the Captain America Civil War scene when he's in the elevator and he fights the Hydra agents, that repeats except earlier. And then you have, it was hilarious is Captain America fights Captain America.
That was awesome.
Old Captain America versus new Captain America going at it. Because basically, future Captain America is coming back to steal the Tesseract, and past Captain America is like, you can't do that. He's going to stop him. That was great.
That whole scene was hilarious. And then the joke after he defeats his doppelganger. That was glorious.
There was some jokes in there that were so funny, but also out of character. Like in a dramatic movie, nobody would say this breaks the stereotype of trying to be overly dramatic. Like these jokes were hilarious.
Yes.
It was so good. So you have all the time traveling, people going back to get the Infinity Stones. And of course, that's where problems come up. This isn't like a clean, do this, we get all the stones. Great. They end up losing one of the stones. They can't figure out how to get it back, so Captain America and Tony have to go even farther back into the past. And in order to get more time travel, so in order to time travel, they have to have PIM particles.
Yeah, the particle thingies.
So the stuff that make Ant-Man small, that kind of stuff. They have to go back and get those on top of the Tesseract, so they find a time at which both were together. They go back, get that stuff. Great, so they fix their one mistake. And then you have Thor and Rocket going back to right before Thor, the Dark World, to take the Reality Stone.
Well, more like that energy goo.
Energy goo thing, whatever it was. It's one of the stones, but it's not in stone form. It's not like a solid rock, it's a goo. Magma, something like that.
Yeah.
There's that whole story of Thor, Rocket. And then you had Iron Patriot and Nebula going back to get the Power Stone, which was at the start of the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, that one was enjoyable.
Yeah, so they go back to get that, and that's where the real problems start, because in some way Nebula is connected to her future and past self. So her past self is still allied with Thanos, and she still really wants to impress Thanos. and her future self is obviously fighting against Thanos. And somehow they like connect, and past Nebula has like a vision and it starts like playing out, and Thanos sees it, and then Thanos starts to get suspicious. He looks into it, he finds out the whole plan, because Nebula's eyes like record everything. It's all stored in her brain, and they can hack that. They hack into her brain, and then they just start pulling out the information, and then you're like, are you serious? Like, now Thanos is in on the whole time travel stuff. Like, he's figured it out, and now he's going to get the stones because now he knows where they all are. He doesn't have to track them down throughout the course of all the Marvel movies.
So a simple plan to get the stones in time, come back and defeat Thanos, is now upset, and everyone, at least for me, was triggered because I'm like, oh no, Thanos knows now it's not going to be an easy victory, which turns out it's not.
And now, so the movie up to this point had been a couple serious, sad moments, and then you had some of the more funny moments. And then the first moment, I think you know what we're talking about, the Soul Stone.
Yes. Yeah, the Soul Stone, where Hawkeye and Natasha have to go, and they're talking to Red Skull about the Soul Stone, and he tells them basically...
One of them has to die to get the stone. They have to do exactly what Thanos did. And they had to sacrifice one or the other to get the stone. And it's almost like kind of like funny, like it makes like a short like hour. You assume like it's an hour time jump. They're kind of like talking about it, and then they're both like, "Well, it's kind of made up," and they both say, "I'm gonna do it."
Yeah, both of them wants to do it.
Yeah, neither one of them is gonna sacrifice the other one. And then you're like, "Well, are they gonna figure out a way around this? Like, they'll figure out some way to get the stone or whatever. They'll clear it up somehow because they have to. This is their one shot." So like, all right, let's see how this pans out. And then you see Hawkeye, Clint, make a rush for the edge. He's going to jump off and kill himself to get the Soul Stone. And then him and Natasha basically have a fight over like who's going to jump off and sacrifice themselves. And it ends up that Hawkeye, Black Widow like tangles him up in her like grapple hook.
Yeah, grapple hook on his...
And she's hanging, and Hawkeye is holding on to her. She's not holding on to him at all. She's just saying, just let me go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you forgave me for my past mistakes. Now I'm going to help you and get you back to your family. She's forgiving him for his mistakes of killing all the bad guys and kind of going insane for 5 years. And then she, like, gives a kick off the rock face, and you see her fall and die. And that moment, you're like, dang, that just happened.
Yeah.
That's like the first major death of Endgame, at least that I can think of. That was the
besides
first, like,
Thanos.
Yeah, besides Thanos.
For heroes,
dying,
though, that's...
Yeah, that was Black Widow dying. You're like, dang, and it was pretty sad.
Mm-hmm.
It was really sad, and it was like kind of like what happened to Gamora, except personally it didn't have as much like this.
I felt more attached.
This had a lot more impact, and you're like, that really sucks. And then you see that Hawkeye has the Soul Stone, so they had succeeded, but at the cost of Black Widow. That's when they reverse all the time travel, and they all come back to the point in which they left. Everybody's still gone, but they have all the Infinity Stones.
Yes. Now, before we move on, I have to say right now, the way they paired up the team members for these stones, I think were perfect. There was not one person that I would have switched to be with another one. Because Captain America and Tony and Ant-Man. Oh, we also forgot the Hulk went with them. He was doing the time stone, yeah.
Hulk did go with
those four, I was like, that's great. And then you have specifically Natasha and Hawkeye. I think those are the only two Avengers that could have gotten the Soul Stone. That's why that was such an excellent pair. Because they're the only two Avengers that really care for each other, that have never had serious beef. So neither one of them wanted each other to die. It'd be like if Tony and Cap went for the Soul Stone. One would sacrifice and they'd be hurt, but because they're good friends, but they don't have that connection of like lifelong friendship like Scarlet and Hawkeye have. And they've never had serious beef, and neither one of them wanted the other one to die.
Yeah.
Like that was great. And then the Thor obviously and Rocket Raccoon, that was just funny pairing.
Yeah.
Rocket's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean that goes back to the pairing from Infinity War. They were paired up in Infinity War when they went to make Stormbreaker his axe.
His big boy axe.
The big one. The Thanos killing kind.
All right, so what happens next? They come back. Oh, yeah, when they're getting the gems before they come back, what's her face? Nebula. She glitches out before she time travels back, and Thanos, because they're in the past, they capture her, and her sister from the past, Doppelgangs, goes to the future and sabotages the machine by opening a gateway so
which
that
allows
past Thanos
to come back to
warp his whole ship into the universe.
The present, so
yeah.
And that
was like a what moment?
His like, huh?
His whole ship just goes through this wormhole,
and during this time, the Avengers actually have no idea, because even though this entire ship comes through in their backyard through their little time machine, they're all locked down inside the Avengers HQ because Hulk put on the glove, the power glove.
That Tony built to hold the stones.
So Tony built basically a big Iron Man glove. They put in the stones, and then Hulk basically says, "I'm the only one strong enough to do this." He puts it on, and he's getting fried. Like, his skin is like almost lighting on fire because he's simply not as strong as Thanos. He can't contain that power.
Yeah.
So he goes, and then he snaps, and you're like, he just did that. And then of course Hulk, his half of his side he's horribly burned, and he's pretty messed up. And then you see people from the past. So you see Hawkeye's wife call him. And she got disintegrated. And then Hawkeye is realizing that just worked. We just brought everybody back. And you're like, oh, that's nice, but Thanos' ship is still up above you. And then he shoots out a whole bunch of missiles and completely obliterates the Avengers.
Oh, their whole base.
Just everything. They're all trapped beneath rubble, and they're beat up.
It's like Iron Man 3 when the Mandarin attack, but like on another scale. Like
much bigger.
Thanos scale. Like, I don't get how none of them died from that scale.
Little unbelievable part, like...
Because Ant-Man was right at the window when that rocket hit. I'm like, oh, he's dead. No, he survived.
They all survived because they can't die like that. They can't be taken out. Thanos just can't drop a nuke on him and then take the stones for himself.
Thanos hit him with that big boy.
Yeah.
That was that attack. And then they scramble around. Tony, Cap, and Thor meet up because Thanos comes down and is sitting in the rubble waiting for them to come out and challenge him, while Gamora and past Nebula.
Yeah.
Past Nebula.
Gamora comes back, but she's been dead for a while, but then you bring back past Gamora. And that's one of the big kind of plot holes. I shouldn't say big plot hole. It's one of the parts in the movie where you're like, how's that gonna work? Because obviously Quill still loves Gamora, but she doesn't remember. They didn't go on any of these adventures. None of that happened.
Yeah.
So there's none of that feeling there. So you're like, are they actually gonna still be back together? Like, that's gonna be kind of awkward. And then and then present Nebula kills past Nebula in order to get the gauntlet. And then that's when the most epic
fight scene ever
in all the Marvel movies takes place, and that's with the musical score, and you see everybody, and it is epic. Of epic proportions. You see everybody.
Before that scene, there's the three that fight Thanos.
Yeah, you see
Cap, Iron Man, Thor.
You see Thor get
and we have to specify when Thor went back for his the Redstone, the reality one.
Yeah.
He got Mjolnir from the past and brought it back.
So he's got his hammer and Stormbreaker.
Yes,
he's got them both.
He's got them both dual wielding, and then Cap has his old shield that Tony gave him back. Tony's got a new suit, and they go ham on Thanos, who's wielding a dual-bladed sword, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and even though Thanos doesn't have any of those Infinity Stones, he's still freaking strong.
That's awesome.
He's just as strong as a Hulk, except he's more agile, more adept at fighting.
He's a warrior.
He's no pushover without the stones by any means.
And they kind of, Thor is still really strong, but they did kind of weaken him a little bit from Infinity War. which I bought because I got that he's slacking for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I understood and didn't really complain that he's a little weaker, but it's a slight nerf. I was okay with it.
Yeah.
But we gotta talk about, since we're both Captain America fans.
I think it goes without saying that
The best.
yeah, you and me are both.
My favorite scene in the movie. My favorite scene.
People in the theater actively screamed out, "Yeah!"
Woo!
Like it's happening. Yes.
It was awesome. He kicks the crap out of Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America, and then he's kicking Thor's crap again.
Yeah, Thor's getting beat up.
Yeah.
He's about to die. And then you see Mjolnir sitting there on the ground. It starts to shake, and then it flies off, and you think, oh, it's going to go to Thor. There's freaking Captain America wielding Mjolnir.
Oh, it was awesome.
So epic. People in the theater are just going crazy, like, oh, it's so cool.
I didn't cheer, but I didn't stop smiling until the end of that fight. Like, I could not stop smiling.
Yeah,
it was so good.
Epic. And then you see
It was so great.
you see Captain America kind of go ham on Thanos. Like, he is beating him up. Like, this is kind of a surprise attack now. Thanos retaliates and starts to beat the crap out of Captain America and ends up kicking him. So that's Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. They're down. They're beat up.
And he
badly.
destroys, like, Captain America's shield almost completely.
Yeah.
It's barely
Captain
hanging
America's
on.
shield is shattered.
Yeah.
He's got, like, maybe a third of it left.
Kind of like the Vision from Age of Ultron that Tony has, where it's just kind of shattered.
Yeah, like just a half shield left. And, yeah, so there's that, and then you're like, well, where's it gonna go? And then it goes back to the epic fight scene of everybody coming back. You see Strange, since everybody got brought back, except for
Gamora.
Gamora didn't get brought back because she got, well, her past self is there, but
The future self that got
Future self-
sacrificed is still dead.
she's dead. So those sacrifices were permanent. So Black Widow is dead.
Yeah.
She can't be brought back by the stones. Gamora is dead.
Future
Vision
Gamora.
is dead.
Yeah.
They don't come back, but everybody else comes back, and you see Doctor Strange,
Open up a bunch of portals everywhere.
bunch of portals,
Yeah.
and you just see everybody from those movies starting to come out, and you're just like, you have shivers going on. You're like, oh, it's happening! It's so
Like,
epic!
it's
We've waited so
Spooderman.
long.
Spooderman.
You get his, and Spider-Man comes back. It's like, oh, sheds a single tear.
The tears.
Spider-Man's back. Everybody's hero.
And the cool part about that scene was, before everyone comes back, it's really just the three of them, and Thanos' army is landing, and it's like, they're going to die. There's no way they can beat this army. And then,
well, Thanos says,
and then Doctor Strange is like, ring portal.
yeah,
and
Thanos
you're like,
says
what?
to Captain America right before everybody appears, I'm getting sick of your puny little planet. I'm going to destroy Earth. Like, I'm not going to leave half the people. No,
This is
I'm
personal.
going to wipe it out, is
Yeah.
what he is saying. Like, he's mad.
He's going to make his own galaxy and rewrite history because there's no one to tell about it.
Yeah, he's realizing that. He comes out and admits, my old plan isn't going to work. I'm just going to kill everybody and remake everything. So it's like, well, dang.
Okay.
So, like, Infinity War, you kind of felt like,
You could see his point of view.
yeah, like Thanos, you, like, almost, like, agreed with him in some small way. You're like, well, maybe.
Yeah.
In Endgame, you see that he is the bad guy, and you start to hate him. Like, you're not...
Yeah.
There's
he's
no,
insane.
like, well, maybe. There is no maybes about it. You hate him. You're like, die.
Pretty much. Then everyone comes through, except everyone comes through that was snapped. And they start fighting, and then in the individual moments of peace, characters have their moments, like Spider-Man reuniting with Tony.
While all the combat's going on, like, this is an entire... This is all of Thanos's... So the Chitauri from the first Avengers...
This is like...
all the weird monsters, everything, all of his minions are still alive with him, all the children of Thanos, so Squidward and then the others,
Yeah.
they come back and they're fighting. And then you have the reunions of everybody. And then, like, oh, they kind of start to win. And then Thanos calls down, like, this is where Captain Marvel makes her second, like, big appearance. So her first big part was saving Tony, and then she just kind of disappears for the rest of the movie. You don't know what she's doing. She's out maintaining order in the galaxy. And then you see her come back, and they're trying to get... So through all this battle, all the Infinity Stones are still there.
They're still in that kind of burnt glove.
Yeah, they're still in
Tony
a burnt
made.
glove. They're still usable. Thanos can still get them and then do what he was going to do. So like, well, we got to get it away from him. They're all trying to get the glove. So then they go through this big fight scene of just about every Avenger handling the glove and just like going through this big chain trying to get it away from Thanos to just destroy
From Grimace, yeah.
Yeah. Trying to get it away, and you see everybody, and that's where. And then Thanos.
Well, Scarlet comes in and starts fighting Thanos and starts actually beating him.
Yeah,
and
Scarlet
he orders this bombardment on everyone from his ship.
So he's killing his own army on top of the good guys. He's hitting them with an orbital strike, so everybody's discombobulated.
Yeah.
And in that chaos of all that, I believe that's when Thanos gets his glove.
Well, no, because the ship's bombarding, and then the ship starts shooting into the sky, and they're like, "What's the shooting at?" And then Captain Marvel comes in, just straight up flies into the ship and starts destroying it from the inside.
Yeah, so she destroys Thanos' entire ship, and it's like,
and it's like, oh, big moment.
yeah, nobody really cares about you. Nobody likes Captain Marvel. It's just nobody likes her. So there's like that big moment. It's like, okay, great, she's here.
And then she forms up with a bunch of the female characters to form their little feminist Avenger movement, and they all rush to try to get the glove.
All Avenger female thing. It was
very
everybody
in your
was
face.
concerned that was going to be the movie, was just this ridiculous thing.
Mm-hmm.
There was a handful of parts, couple of annoying Brie Larson parts, and then the weird little all female Avengers part. But it was very short-lived, and you very quickly forgot about it, and just it wasn't too in your face. It was there,
and during that, they're all fighting. She has the glove, and she gets into a little fist fight with Thanos over the glove, and isn't that when Thanos actually gets it and puts it on, and she's holding his hand?
Yeah, Thanos is going to do another snap, and Captain Marvel's basically holding his hand. And then you see like Thanos like grin or whatever, and then Captain Marvel just starts to beat him and overpower him.
And he grabs the Power Stone, the purple one, like in his left hand, and like straight up just uses its power to like blast Captain Marvel, and she gets flown across the battlefield.
Was awesome. I was like, yes,
that was awesome.
That'll be the only time in the movie where you cheer for Thanos. It's like, yes,
yes,
beat her up.
And then Tony jumps in and snatches the stones off of that glove onto his own body armor.
So Thanos actually snaps his fingers, and then he realizes it's just an empty glove. And you see Iron Man. He has all of the stones. That's a lot of power.
And his nanobots like adapted to the stones and like made its own like glove out of his armor.
Yeah, so Tony has the glove. And this is the climax of the whole fight. Everybody's pretty much stops. And then I don't remember what Iron Man says. Iron Man says something really dramatic.
Oh, something, I am Iron Man. And then just straight up, just snaps.
I am Iron Man. Iron Man snaps. And when Thanos snapped, he took a lot of damage. Like, he was pretty hurt after that, on top of having an axe in his chest. But Tony is just a human. He's not that strong. But he makes the snap, and then you see all the bad guys, they get vaporized. All the bad guys turn into ash. And you're like, they did it. They beat him. And you see Thanos just looking totally defeated.
Well, Thanos takes a big L, sits down, and doesn't feel so well.
And Thanos disappears in the ashes, and you're just like, yes!
Tony,
you go from that high,
and
then you're like, oh, this is what's gonna happen. Then you see Tony. He's beat up, and he's obviously dying.
His whole right side is just like toasted, like Anakin.
And then that's when literally my heart started to sink, and I was like, oh, this is gonna happen. It's gonna be so sad. That's the part where I teared up.
Me too.
Is Iron Man dies. He freaking dies. He saves the universe by snapping, but he dies for it. And granted, he left behind Pepper and his daughter, who was adorable in the movie. That was the cutest kid in a movie of all time.
Yep.
It was hilarious.
But the Russos know perfectly how to handle Tony Stark's arc and Captain America's. Even though Captain America wasn't the big hero at the end, like Iron Man, it makes sense that Iron Man was the one to finish it. And I'm not upset at all.
And he dies. Yeah. He dies for it.
His arc was just so good.
And basically, everybody's back, and then they start to go into, well, how are we going to rebuild from all this? And then this is the end of the movie or whatever, and
They have to return all the stones.
they have to return
time.
the stones so that they don't create a mess in time and make alternate dimensions. They have to keep it one timeline, only one dimension.
Yeah.
So they have to return the stones, and Captain America volunteers to do it. And they say, well, before that, there's a big funeral for Tony.
The funeral.
It's super sad. It hits you in the feels. It's like, dang, this sucks.
Yeah.
And you're also going along with also Black Widow's dead. You're just like, this sucks so much. And then you're kind of like left with like a glimmer of hope kind of thing. You're like, most of them still survived. And then you go back to, well, they got to return the time stone. So you see Falcon. That's the name, right? Falcon?
Yeah, Falcon.
Yeah, Falcon. So basically Captain America's buddy, future buddy, because Buck wasn't around for most of it. And then you see Hulk, Banner, and say, all right, you're going to go and put back the stones. We have it all marked down. You just got to go in there. You have a little GPS so you can set the exact dates and times you need to go to get this done. And then they send him off. They said, all right, this should take you a couple hours. It'll be 5 seconds for us. See you later, Cap. They send him off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring him back. He's not back. And you're like, what just happened? And then you hear Hulk say, he shot way past his point. I don't know where he is.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, what?
I knew exactly.
What?
When they set up the whole after they won, and they're like, we have to return the stones. And as soon as Cap was the one like, yeah, I'm going back, I'm like, I know what's going to happen. I just knew, and I wasn't disappointed. I totally liked the decision. He goes, returns the stones, lives his life out with his girl, and then they're all upset, like, where does he get him back? And then Bucky hears this noise off to the side.
Turns around, and you see an old man sitting on a bench, and you're like, no, wait a minute. And you see that it's Cap. It is old Captain America, as he should be. Late 90s, World War II vet.
Lived out his life.
Dang, he ended up marrying Carter, Agent Carter, and you're just like, so he had his life, and then you see him hand off his shield to Falcon, basically saying, you're the next Captain America. That's what he says.
Which I didn't have a problem with. I know some people would be like, Bucky should be Cap. Bucky's really not Cap material.
Not the best one.
Falcon is the closest you're going to get to Cap in terms of character, morals, just his beliefs in terms of the movie, his character.
He's a good character too. Like I enjoyed him in all the movies.
I like him. I have no problem with the future black.
I don't care.
Black Captain America. I like it.
We're not racist.
We're not. But no, I liked it. I was like, that really got me teared up too. In a happy, like I was tearing up and choking because I was unlike Tony, I was sad. Captain America, I was sad and happy at the same time.
Yep.
Super happy with the Russos did. It was good.
So this is the conclusion of most of the main Avengers, and then you see Thor.
I am confused about Thor's future.
Thor was pretty confusing because now they're not exactly mortal because Odin aged and then eventually like just kind of did a Jedi Force just disappear or whatever. So it's like, okay,
into the nether.
But so Thor still has a lot of life ahead of him, but he hands off ruling like the last couple of Asgardians that are left. Hands that off to Valkyrie, who you see in Ragnarok and then this movie. Hands it all off to her. And then he says, I don't know what the future holds. And you see him just pack up and go.
He goes with the Guardians. And you're like, so is the next Guardians movie going to have Thor in it? I'm totally down for that, but I am confused.
Takes off with Rocket somewhere, and you're like, okay. So that'll be interesting.
I'm up for Thor being part of the Guardians.
That'd be hilarious. And that's pretty much all the major points of the movie. That's everything that happens in it.
Pretty much. We missed the whole plot point of the reason why they're getting the glove away from Thanos is Ant-Man had that little that was the bus with the machine he used to go small on the battlefield, and they were trying to get it there.
That's right.
To warp the glove away. And
yeah,
then,
they're trying to get the glove.
And then Thanos, when Captain Marvel had it, just kind of YOLO his sword into it and destroyed it, and then they had that conflict.
Mm-hmm.
I think we covered every other point.
Yeah, they were going to use that van to send all the individual stones to their own original places.
Yeah.
That was their whole plan.
We have not said, though, how gosh darn sexy Captain America's hair was. Like, dang, that's a good weave, bro.
Yeah, that was funny. There were some Captain America jokes in there that were 10 out of 10.
They were so good.
10 out of 10. But then that rounded it all up, and then you have kind of a dramatic final scene where you see all the original Avengers basically just sign their name. I don't know if it was an official sign-off for all of them, but you see them like sign their names, and then of course Black Widow's dead. She's no longer making an appearance. Captain America isn't technically dead, but he's extremely old. He's lived out his life.
He's definitely retired. Like any future movie,
back.
It's going to be an old cameo.
Yeah, he's not coming back. And then, of course, Hawkeye, he has his family. He's obviously not going to get back in any conflict. He just wants to stay with his family. You have Thor going off who knows where with the Guardians. You have Hulk. Don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, Hulk, we don't know. He could
Hulk
totally...
was pretty beat up, but he was still alive and just fine. And then you have, of course, Tony died.
He's dead.
So there's that's half of the team gone.
Unless they make like a Tony AI for the suit, like
who knows?
Hopefully not, but
who knows?
I gotta say, out of the new characters that they're obviously setting up for the new movies, I really like Pepper Potts if she's gonna be like the new female Iron Man.
I'm okay with that.
I think that's cool.
Pretty darn good.
Plus the suit, I like blue, blue and gold. Pretty cool.
Yeah, so Endgame ends in a satisfying way, but also in a way it leaves you with more questions. And at this point, I'm not really sure how invested I'm going to be in the Marvel Universe, because all the heroes I cared about, all their epic stories, for the most part, were ended.
Yep.
Except for, like I said, Thor and that kind of stuff. We still have to see where they go. But on the whole, it's kind of done. And then there's the new Avengers. Who knows what they'll possibly do, what movies they could do. I'm not super hyped for like any specific hero. I'm not like, oh, I can't wait to see what Falcon does as a new Captain America or anything like that. I'm not as invested now because this was such a satisfying ending.
Definitely.
And it just came out so nicely. Yeah.
I can tell you my plan for the future. I'll probably go see any Marvel movie that has current heroes I'm invested in, like the next Spider-Man, maybe even Guardians, the third one.
Yep.
I probably will not watch any new startup character movies like Captain Marvel's. I probably won't watch any of those. But I will wait till the next Avengers, and if I really like how the characters are, then I'll get invested. If I don't, I'll just go rewatch all my old ones for nostalgia. Like this is
pretty much
the golden age for Marvel as it is. The next series of movies
could be really good or could be bad.
Either way though, it's like the golden age of comics. There was golden, silver. Silver was really good, but golden is original. You're never gonna forget them.
Yeah, this is
historic.
I said this in our actually when the movie finished this was in a way the Star Wars of our generation.
Totally.
Because like our parents, they had Star Wars. That was the biggest thing ever, and that was for our generation. It's been Marvel. Mm-hmm. That's what everybody was invested in. Like, oh, it's gonna happen.
Through the ups and downs, the mediocre movies to the really good movies.
Yep.
Endgame, really good. I was worried that the first Avengers, as cheesy as it is, it's a classic. You're never going to forget it. Second Avengers, I really like, but even I have to say it's not as good as the first. Mm-hmm. It didn't drop the ball, in my opinion, but I was worried that Infinity War would do the same thing, like how it's really good, but then Endgame wouldn't live up to how good the first one was. I can say without a doubt it's just as good, if not better. I need to see it again to confirm it, but it is definitely just as good. I was worried it wouldn't be as good in the way how the second Avenger wasn't as good as the first Avenger movie.
Yeah.
But I think it was really solid, for sure.
After all that roller coaster and all the rest of that stuff, we'll move to our final movie score. We'll be doing this at the end of every movie we review, and we'll be doing it on a very simple 1 to 10 scale.
Can we do like 0.5s? like
Sure.
8.5, like
Sure.
in between.
That's fine. We're not going any smaller though. We're not.
You can't go any smaller than 0.5.
Okay.
Oh, I have to go first?
Yes.
Oh, okay. As a fanboy, Marvel nerd geek, I want to give this movie a 10. But since we're setting up mag reviews to be reviews for movies, my
It's
official
serious business, all right. We can't just hype up every movie.
Serious
just give
business.
it 10 out of 10.
my fanboy review is 10 out of 10. My official movie review, though, from the first viewing and reviewing it like an hour after we've seen it, I got to give it a 9 out of 10. Because I do think the pacing in the first half is slow, and then there's a lot of nitpicks that I don't nitpick about, but they are there. And if you're making a movie, just the fact that they did this, like Infinity War, is amazing. It's revolutionary. But still, as a movie, it's not a 10, in my opinion, but it is a huge 9. Fanboy review is 10, but I think it's a solid 9 out of 10 movie. It's great.
And as a fanboy myself, it's gonna pretty much go the same way since me and you are so similar. We're gonna be giving almost every movie about the same exact score. We don't talk about this in advance. This is just our honest opinions.
We didn't talk until we got back to do this.
Yeah, we haven't spoken at all about the movie until this. But I would say definitely 9 out of 10. I want to say just, like, stepping out of that theater, I would say 10 out of 10. Letting it soak in.
That's your fanboy review.
That's like the fanboy, like, oh, it was so good. Actual review, 9 out of 10. If you're not a super huge Marvel fan and you really nitpick, you could probably get the movie down to like a 7.5 or 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
If you really nitpick. But if you can just get past just some of the minor little bits and pieces, it's a 9 out of 10. Even if you've only seen just the Avenger movies and then Infinity War, you'll still enjoy it. It's still really cool to enjoy. You won't have quite as much impact, but anybody will be able to enjoy this movie.
Mm-hmm. It's nice to have a fun action movie that's not dumb, treats you with respect, makes you think, doesn't push agendas. Not that hard. Doesn't push agendas. And that's a huge blockbuster that's cohesive and makes sense.
Yep.
And I want to see more Russo movies, Marvel or not, honestly. Like, I really want to see their work now because I love them. They're great at directing movies.
Well, summing up pretty much the last almost 10 years, over 10 years of Marvel.
Technically 11 because Infinity War was 10 years, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
So this is
11 years.
an incredible climax of all the years of Marvel, and it came together in this, and it was really, really good movie. Yeah, and then a quick question for all the listeners out there. Since this is our first official review, we want to be doing this more. Our next planned movie will be John Wick 3. We've seen John Wick 1 and 2. Really love those movies.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be looking forward to do that. But we also want to involve you guys in this. We wanted to know if a video portion of this, just a video of us having this podcast and hanging out.
So you can see our faces.
Yeah, so you can see our ugly mugs if you really wanted to. I don't know why you would, but if you do, let us know. Yeah, this has been our first official mag review.
Yes. Also forgive the audio if this is our first review. I'm hoping it sounds great, but we will see.
We will continue to improve, and we look to do this a lot more in the future.
Definitely.
Thanks for listening.
I'm gonna eat a